Zdravím všetkých and welcome to today's second video. Today I wanted to talk about meetup groups and are they good to use or are they good to go to if you're trying to meet new people, if you're going to a new country, or for me, if you're wanting to meet new people in Slovakia, in Bratislava. Um, and the short answer is yes. So go ahead and click off now if you want. No, but I would say so. Yes. And there's a couple of like not big strategies, but just minor strategies that if you're like me, it would be good to be aware of like beforehand when going to them. Going to a meetup group, so it kind of depends on what your interests are. If you're going for a specific interest, then you go for the specific interest. Then you know that everyone around you is gonna, share that interest. It'll be easy to talk about like the one obvious thing. But the one that I went to, it was more kind of for locals and foreigners to meet or to get together. Like it was kind of advertised as like language exchange, but it's more just like to meet people in the area and maybe make a friend or something like that. Um, so I went to it. I think maybe it was like last week, or it was like a week or week and a half ago or something. And I had actually tried to go to a meetup group once before, like earlier this year or last year or something. And I went to that original one a long time ago. I went to it, but I didn't go to it at the same time. Like the mistake that I made was that I went, but I went with the kind of intention or like with the mentality like oh, arrive a little bit late so that you're fashionably late, so that you're a little bit cool. But I arrived a little too late, maybe like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or 30 minutes late or something. And I was thinking like, okay, that's going to be fine, like no big deal. And if you're a little more outgoing, like if you really bring the presence to a room, and you just chat it up with everyone, that can be totally fine. But for me, it usually takes me like a moment to warm up to to someone or like to a group of people or something like that. So for that original one a long time ago, original meetup group, I arrived late, and what had happened was there was like one long table, and a lot of people around the table having drinks and there's some snacks and whatever chatting, but everyone was already like deep into conversation it seemed, and already said their hellos and how do you do's and all this kind of stuff, and basically everyone was already like deeply engaged in their conversations, and so for me, it felt a little difficult to break into the conversation at the time, and I felt like a little awkward. There wasn't any like physical space for me to go into around this table, so I just ended up leaving at that time. But fast forward to this time, last week. So I go to this meetup group, and this time I have that mistake in mind. Like I don't want to show up right on time, like right at 7 p.m. But I don't want to show up too late either so that I don't have the same situation come up. And what actually happened was this time I did show up at like 7 p.m. and there weren't really a lot of people, or at least it was kind of difficult to tell who was there because we were meeting, it was kind of like at this bar slash cafe. There was like outdoor seating and indoor seating. Um, and so I go there and I show up like on time, like basically on the dot, and there's like not that many people there, and there weren't any signs or anything, and some people were in conversation, whatever, but I wasn't sure if they were there for the meetup group or just there because they were just there. So I kind of like left and then walked around a little bit, and then I go like 10 minutes later, and that's my advice is like maybe don't show up right on time, but like 5 to 10 minutes later, because then there's going to be just enough people that are arriving there that it's going to be more obvious that they're there for the meetup group. But there's not going to be so many people that it feels difficult to hop into the conversation if you're kind of like me. Maybe like, you're like me where once you're chatting with someone, it's very easy. Like, for me it is. But to initiate the conversation, sometimes it can be difficult, especially if it's a larger group of people and they're already deep in their conversation. But basically, one other thing to mention about like going to a meetup group is that if you're not just visiting a town or wherever you are, like just that one time, because there was like one guy who was there just like for the one time, and then he was going to another country, like back home or something, the next week. If if you've moved somewhere and you're wanting to go to these meetup groups, like go to the next one. It doesn't have to be the one that's the very next week, but go to the one the week after. Because also what I noticed was there was like different groups of people chatting. So it's all like they're all there for the same meetup group, but this is just what naturally happens. Is you can't have like, you know, 10, 12, 15 people having the same conversation effectively. It's going to naturally break up into smaller, more intimate groups. So when I go into the main room after I get my kofola, cuz like I don't usually drink beer or alcohol. I'm kind of scanning the room. I'm trying to see like, okay, like who am I gonna sit near? Like which group of people am I gonna socialize with? Because that's basically the choice that I had. And so on the right hand side, there was like a bunch of like dudes, like 30s and 40s, and it's like, okay, I could chat with them, but they're maybe like talking about business and things. Maybe they're like super deep in their careers or something. I don't know. Then there was like another group in the middle that I kind of wanted to jump into, but they kind of were at a smaller table. The people were like much younger, and there was like a few like girls there, like few hotties there. So like of course I'm inclined to sit there, but there wasn't really too much like space. There wasn't really a spot for me to sit, so I didn't really want to like force myself there. And then the third table was like medium sized, and there was a couple spots open, and there was kind of a mix of ages and sexes for people there. Like it was men and women, but the youngest person was like a girl, like in her 20s, and then everyone else was like maybe, let's say, in their 30s to like early 40s or something like that. But basically, that's the group that I ended up conversating with for the rest of the evening. And I'm mentioning this because I had originally wanted to chat with like the people that were sitting at the small table, like the younger people, but I didn't really get the chance to, and I feel like maybe I should have even joined a little bit sooner even. So for this meetup group, it was like maybe 7:10 or 7:12 that I arrived. So maybe show up to these like 5 minutes late, 5 to 8 minutes late. That's my advice. So as I learn more about some of these things here, I will be able to share more. So I don't want this video to get too long. That was just me kind of sharing my experience with like going to a first like actual meetup group here in Bratislava, and I'm gonna see what else happens. Maybe I'll go to more. So, anyways, I hope you got something out of it, out of this video. I'm gonna try to work on a couple other videos and like post more frequently again. Because yeah, the summer was pretty dry. I was kind of like all over the place. Didn't really have too much time to make videos, but yeah, I'd like to share my experience here with you. So anyway, if you weren't aware, I started a Ko-Fi account. So if you want to help support, you know, me and the channel to get some more videos made, because I'm trying to get a new camera, that would help with more on the street kind of recordings. You can go ahead and check that out. And yeah, that's kind of it for today's video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it was informative or entertaining in some way. And well, anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today. So I will see you next time from here, the Chronicles of Mr. Sturba in Bratislava, Slovakia. Ciao for now.